When we get to the site, I'm actually going to show you what needs to be done to set up, and I'm going to set a timer going to sort of illustrate how long it takes to, from when you get onto your pitch, how long it takes you to get the van level, to get everything set up just as you want it. Well, hello and welcome to another episode of A Wolf's Wheels. This is part 3 of a series in which we are touring around a bit of Europe with a company called Crossings Motorhome Tours. And as I've said in parts 1 and 2, and indeed maybe even in part 3 if this actually turns out to be part 4, this is not somebody's holiday snaps. This is actually somebody, or a look at what it's like to do a fairly extended, roughly a month-long tour, stopping quite a few places in a relatively small camper van slash motorhome. Does it work? What problems have we had? What would we prefer? What do we like? What don't we like? And things like that. And also some commentary about what I think of the driving and roads in the various countries. So today we've actually now left Czechoslovakia, the Czech Republic, it's not Czechoslovakia, the Czech Republic, and have mostly transited Slovakia on our way down to Hungary, where we're going to stay at Budapest for I think 3 nights. In terms of the standard of driving, certainly in the Czech Republic there were absolutely no problems at all, but as we got more and more into Slovakia, it did seem that there were more people who seemed to like to trust somewhat in whatever higher being they worship, that things will work out well for them. So it wasn't that unusual to see people overtaking while you're coming straight at them, and things like that. So it's not been quite as relaxed as it was in the Czech Republic, or even Germany and Luxembourg and other places we've been. In terms of the road surfaces, well, okay, they've certainly ranged both in the Czech Republic and Slovakia from being billiard top smooth to being extremely rough. Now, not rough in the same way that the UK is rough in terms of a sharp-edged potholes, but what they seem to do out here is they'll fill a pothole and leave it slightly raised with tarmac, so you get sort of all bits or lumps of tarmac. So there's no sharp-edged potholes, but it's just very, very bumpy, rather like it was in Poland, if anyone's ever driven there. But that's by the by. So the other thing I think I'm going to do with this video today is actually, because we're setting up and not setting up on various sites, when we get to the site I'm actually going to show you what needs to be done to set up, and I'm going to set a timer going to sort of illustrate how long it takes to, from when you get onto your pitch, how long it takes you to get the van level, to get everything set up just as you want it. So I shall carry on driving. We're probably about 2 hours maybe away from our final destination. It's now, what's the time? 10 to 4 in the afternoon, and we set off at 9:30 this morning, so it's been quite a long day. But you know, we've not rushed ourselves too much. Anyway, that's it for now. Well, okay, we're now on site at Budapest and we've just pulled in. What have we learnt today? Well, we've learnt that there aren't many stops on the roads in Slovakia if you want to stop for a cup of tea or anything like that. And probably more importantly, we've learnt that crossing Budapest in a motorhome where you don't speak the language in the rush hour is probably not the best of ideas, but we did it, we've got here, and have escaped completely scot-free, as it were. Anyway, so the first thing we do now we're on site is we actually have to see about the van being level, and for that we have an app on Anne's phone, and before we do that I'm actually just going to set the timer here going there, so you can see, and this is how long it's taken including the film. So Anne will go through here with the app, and as you can see it's a little bit not quite straight, so it needs to come up at the front, so we're going to put it on the ramps. So in the filming there will be sort of breaks and things in the filming. The timer is still going to be going all of the time. It's just, it's very difficult to actually I haven't got enough hands basically to do everything, so we're simply going to leave the timer running where it is. It's going to take slightly longer because, for example, I wouldn't want to be talking for this couple of minutes, but anyway, the timer's going and we need to get the ramps out of the van and in front and onto the ramps. So let's see how we do that. Ramps are of course down here in the bag, so take them out. They weigh a ton. These are Milenko Quattros. And I'm going to give the camera to Anne, who's going to film me putting it on the ramps. So we line it up on the ramps there, and you can see we're going to drive forward onto the ramps. Now sometimes the ramps are better slightly behind the wheel rather than in front, so you reverse onto them, especially when you're on gravel because they can be pushed. So let's see if we can get away with it today. Is it level now? It could do it coming up a bit more, I think. Or do you think that's alright, Annie?
Let's do the door test.
We'll do the door test. The advantage of the sliding door is if the door stays still when you let go of it, which it does, that's generally reckoned by us to be pretty good.
Yep.
Right, so I'm going to just turn this off. Actually, we need to do is to connect the electric up, so let's go and do that. The timer is still going, and I'll just have a quick look at the timer, which is showing 4 minutes. So it's 4 minutes since we got on site. We're now level. We're going to be putting the ramps on, the electric on next. So on our van, electric plugs in just here, and you always plug in the van before you plug it into the bollard, because that way the lead is always dead when you're manipulating it. So I'm just going to get the cable out of the bag. This end plugs in there. And take the rest of it round to the bollard. And it plugs in to there like that. There are 2 pins in that side. We have a 2-pin adapter should we need it. Right, we just go back in. Do we have electric, Annie? We know because we look on the panel.
We have.
The flash thing there shows you that you've got electric. Right, so that's all good, and the timing is now 6 minutes, including the filming delays. And as you can see, the kettle is already on, so the only thing left to do is to put a bit of debris away there and spin the seats, which Anne will just film spinning the seats because it's such a difficult process. One seat, 2 seats, and get the table out, next storage there, and the leg in there, and there you go. The time is now showing 7 minutes 6 seconds, and we're basically completely set up. We've just can't quite get to the bed because we've got the silver screens. If that bothered, okay, we'll put the silver screens in the front where they're usually not using them. There you go, that's that dealt with. And the 2 chairs just need to go outside to be set on. So just pick them up and put them out. But so it's about 8 minutes to set up in the basic setup, which I think is pretty good. That's it. Next time I'll show you about setting up the longer setup when we put the awning out and just how long that takes. But we know the quick setup takes you, including filming, 7 to 8 minutes. And I would think if you weren't filming, you could take at least 1.5 minutes off that. So it's just so straightforward. So here we are on another site. This time we're somewhere else in Hungary. It's spelt Badasconi, Lake Badasconi, but it's pronounced Badachoy. And as I said, I'm going to show you now how long it takes to get the bigger side of the thing set up. So you saw earlier in this film that it takes between sort of 6 and 7.5 minutes, depending on whether you're filming or not, to get the thing ready to use on ramps, electric plugged in and kettle on and so on. So we're now going to put the outside silver screens on because we're here for a few days and it's very hot and it'll keep the van cooler. And we're going to put the awning out at the side and we're going to put the mat down as well. So let's just show how that's done and how long that takes. I'll start the timer and then we'll go from there. So let's put the timer on, stopwatch, reset, start. So there you go. It started now, and first thing we do is we put the silver screens on, and they live in this container. To do this, flick out the wipers like that. Then you have to get it the right way round. There we go. Open the door, and this bit here goes over there. That. It goes over the mirror. Like that. Open this door slightly and hook that over it without trapping your fingers in it. It goes over there, like that. Go around and check the other side. Do a bit of Velcro up under there. Reseat this side because it's not right. And then fold the mirrors in just to keep it pinned down a bit better. So that's that one. Then we need to wind the awning out to do it with the door shut because it catches on it if you don't. Use the windy handle. This goes in there. Wind it out. And I take a bit longer than some people because I like to put the legs down on it to take some of the weight while I'm still putting it out. So let's just take some of the weight off the awning. Straighten the legs out like so. Then you wind it out, and when it reaches the point there, we just saw that on the top, it just goes slack. It's fully out, and then you just wind it back a quarter of a turn, and it just tightens the fabric up, which I didn't know for a long time until somebody told me about that. And it makes the thing a whole lot quieter. So this then goes back on its special little hook And now the fun and games begins, because we need to get some stuff out of the back. So, as I mentioned before, all sorts of stuff in the back, most of which we don't even use, but just feel you need to bring it. And of course all this is sitting in the time. So that's a bike. It's part of the electric grill. So as I've mentioned before, one of the compromises with the small van is that things have to be packed in, and it's not always easy to get to what you want, which inevitably is right at the bottom. And this is the mat. And in here are the side bits for the awning, and in here are the awning tie straps. So let's go around and do that. So before we go too mad, you have to, if you look at the awning, you'll see that this end is slightly higher than this end, and that's to allow for the rain to run off if it rains. If you have it flat, the rain tends to gather on the top, but this way it will run off. It doesn't matter which way round it is, but you shouldn't really have it dead level. I'll speak up a bit. I'll just drop this bit in here, because since we put the awning up that you were sort of watching the film of, we're now in the middle of a thunderstorm and a bit of rain, and I mentioned about the slope on the awning being a useful thing, and I'll just turn the camera around and you'll be able to see exactly what I mean. So hopefully you can hear me over this noise, but you can see the water just running off the end here, and not off of this end here. That's all because I put the slope on it. Yeah. And that's all because I put the slope on it. Anyway, back to the main story. So, next thing we'll put in are actually the mat. And the reason for that is that often I end up standing one of these legs on the mat, one of these legs here on the mat, and that means if it's all tethered down you can't do that. And I generally do that because one of the corner straps on the mat has fallen off, which is this one here. So if I peg that under this here, all is well. So it's pegged under that. Next job is to put these screen blockers on, which do two things. They prevent wind and also give it additional security. And they just slide in to the channel at the end, just here. So the channel in there, and it just slides in like so, and all the way along. And that's that done. They just need to be nailed down with these ones. So just peg out. It's nice soft ground. So that's good. That's those four. Then peg out the mat. That one's a bit stiffer, so we need to hammer that one in. So, and then put the storm straps on in here. So these have these great big tent pegs, and they have to go in line about there, or wherever you can get them in. There looks all right to me. One, and roughly lined up for the other. Put in at an angle, of course, because the line is going to go from there to there and needs to pull against that. Right, so unfurl these straps. You can see this end of the strap, it's got a little hook, and that goes in just here, like that. Then at this end you've got one of those and one of those, and the spring goes through the hole in the top of the thing, and the other one goes on there, and then you just tension it simply by pulling on that, but you don't over tension it. That's possibly a bit slack. That's possibly about right, and I'll show you how we deal with these loose ends in a minute. So this end's just a repeat of the other, so fancy thing, it goes in like that, so it sort of hooks through there at the back effectively, like that. And then that goes into there, that goes into there. And then what we do with these loose ends, I don't know whether it's what you should do or not, is simply fold them and fold them. So it's 1, 2, 3, 4, and then shove them through there like that. It's just neater. As I say, I don't know if it's what you're meant to do, but it's what we do.
1, 2, 3, 4. There.
And let's just go and have a quick look at the time inside. And that's 15 minutes. So all we've got to do now is literally just put the stuff back in the boot. So that's sort of how you do that, but as you see, it's about 6 to 7 minutes for the short setup, and about another, let's say, 15 minutes, between 12 and 15 minutes, because of course I have been filming and talking, so it's taken a little bit longer to do the full setup. So there you go. I do hope you found that one useful. Well, don't believe everything you see and hear on the various van life channels. You know, long term, I say long term, a month in something like the 2021 Autosleeper Kingham isn't all glamorous, and one of the things you have to do from time to time is the washing, as in the laundry. And I'll just show you what it sort of looks like when it's laundry day. Luckily we're going out for the day, so we can do this with the van. So, you know, you just got sort of laundry sort of everywhere. Put a little makeshift hanger there, and these are nice fold up coat hangers. You can sort of fold and fold. They don't take up a lot of room when they're thinged, but yeah, you know, it's like, there you go, there's your laundry. That's what it looks like. So as I say, it's not all glamorous, despite what you might think. Of course, we would use the awning here to hang the washing from these rafters, and that works really well, but we're going out, so we don't really want to leave the washing out, which is why it's all inside. As I say, there you go. You may be wondering, well, how was the washing done? Well, we're basically travelling, as I've said earlier, with Crossings Motorhome Tours, and we stay on commercial sites, and this particular site we're on at Budapest has washing machines which are actually free to use. You just need to bring your own washing powder, which we've done. So these clothes have actually been washed in a conventional domestic type washing machine. So I'm just moving around trying to get the light better. And they've then been spin dried so they're not dripping wet, which is why we can put them over the bed. I don't know if they've got tumble dryers.
No.
Anne's just said no, they haven't, so there are no tumble dryers here, but often there is on the site, and sometimes you have to pay for the machine and they provide the powder, and sometimes they are free and you provide your own powder, and sometimes they cost you and all you get is a washing machine. It just varies from place to place. Anyway, that's how the washing was done. So I thought I'd mention that, and also mention the fact that the clothes hanging over the bed are in fact pretty dry out of the spin dryer part of the cycle, so they're not going to drip on the bed. So as I say, I hope you found that useful. You may be wondering why I didn't include in the timing putting the stuff back in the garage at the end, and the reason I didn't include that was simply that it depends on what we're doing, how much of it goes back in the garage. So for example, some of the time was taking the 2 bikes out, and if we're going to go out on the bikes in a couple of hours time, there's no point putting them back in the garage and things like that. And you may also wonder why I didn't include the timing for putting these chairs out. Well, the thing is, these chairs were already sort of chucked under the van after we parked up. Just take them out of the inside, chuck them inside. There's no time at all for that. Anyway, I'm going to wrap this one up now. I know, as I say, I hope you found it helpful. If you did, obviously feel free to give it a like, that'd be nice. Share it, tell your mates. You could even subscribe, that's entirely up to you. And I'll just look forward to seeing you in the next episode of A Wolfie's Wheels, in which I'm going to look at some of the gadgets we brought with us, which are not necessarily directly motorhome related, that have actually been sort of life-changing and really helpful on this tour. Anyway, I'll see you in the next episode. Bye.